So, we're gonna call the Fremont School Board meeting to order for February 12th. We're starting at approximately 7:55. And we'll start with a roll call.
Brady's here.
Yep, they're here.
Keen here.
Go Wolf over here.
And we'll jump right into old business. Parent-centered meetings clarification requested. I think that was from the special education survey that was done.
Yeah, I'd like to put that on hold. That was the issue I brought up, and I want to put on hold because I got to go back and look at the minutes and see exactly what I was looking at. And I understand Sarah's response.
Do you want me to share my
Yeah.
my response to question? Andy had asked about explaining more about parent-centered meetings, and I think I understood what he meant.
Right.
Except in our lingo, we run student-centered meetings.
Right.
So just explained, and so I didn't know if Andy needed further clarification, I needed clarification, he needed clarification. But we run student-centered meetings, and it's especially if a conflict should arise, it makes it easy to go back to the child's needs, and you keep bringing it back to the child and back to the child.
And there was some issue in the survey about parents understanding the process or something like that, that I picked up, and I need to go through that and see exactly what the parents are.
It's a really complicated
Yeah,
process, as you
it
can
is.
imagine, and we spend a lot of time normalizing and filling people in and trying to keep them, but I'll tell you one of the reasons why there is a position in a school like mine is because the laws, the rules, they change constantly. So we are constantly relaying that information, and when you're dealing with a child of your own that is struggling and having an issue, it's not uncommon for emotions to kind of really come forward. I've been on the other side of the table myself, and it's difficult. The whole special ed process went right out of my head. So it's we just kind of keep repeating and going over it.
Right, and there's ways to de-escalate those situations, you know.
To the best of our ability.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes, you know, now, you know, but I don't wanna get into that.
Okay.
You know, there's ways to de-escalate, I mean, you know, when those things come up, there are ways to de-escalate it. You know, that if people are, you know, who are skilled at running meetings, you know, a lot of times there's ways that can de-escalate, accelerate and turn into some sort of confrontation.
And we do
I
get a
think
lot of
I think
Yeah.
I remember your question was, do the people who are running the meetings get training to handle those kinds of
Those,
situations
yeah.
where you have to
Oh.
de-escalate?
Absolutely.
I think that's what he
Yeah,
heard, and
well, that's
Michelle.
part of it, yeah.
Absolutely, and you know, not only do they get training and stuff, I mean, one of the things that I as the LEA, I mean, I attend a great number of the meetings in the building, and when I'm there, I do a lot of role modeling,
Right.
and I think my background as a counselor, I'm not sure how I could do this job without that background, to be quite honest.
Right.
But just really modeling continuously for everybody, but there are always workshops available out there that people, just about how to resolve conflict. It's not just for kids.
Right, there's a lot of stuff about understanding group dynamics and,
Yep.
and facilitating groups and that sort of thing, which are real important, you know,
Mhm.
different roles people take in groups, how to
Yep.
distinguish roles people take, how to read body language, that sort of thing, which all, you know, is helpful. I don't know if they get that full training in facilitating a group and understanding how groups operate and that sort of thing.
We do that within our own staff, actually, so there's a great deal of knowledge within the entire staff at LS.
And usually either you or Melissa or myself as LEAs, somebody's there
Yes.
Right.
for an administration that can assist in those type of situations as well.
Okay, and then agenda revisions, do you know if there's any, Michelle? No? Okay, so we'll head right to the approval of minutes. We've got the minutes of January 29th, 2013. I had one change on page 2. It's Roman numeral 4, and it was guest Michael Rydeen, and it's just a missing word. The last sentence in Roman numeral 4 says Mr. Kohlhofer mentioned that he had something to do. On page 3, Roman numeral 4, the very last line, Deb Genthner would motion to restrict reconsideration instead of reconsider. Page 4, section C, the second paragraph, it said Ms. Lenga had positive feedback on the voter's guide. That was the newsletter. I think that should be stricken and say, had positive feedback on the school board newsletter. And then it should be noted that there was a clarification that a formal voter's guide would need to be completed with updated warrant information after the upcoming deliberative session.
There, I get it. I'll tell you what, that's an issue, but an issue.
On page 5, in number 4, discussion of protocols, about the third paragraph down, where it talks about the graphs, did we say we were gonna update those graphs with the information from the Department of Ed websites instead of the data that I used? Does anybody remember?
Yeah, we said we were gonna go with a certain month.
October 1st, I don't know if we said we're gonna update those graphs, but those are the numbers we use.
I thought it was in the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so the graphs that I did are not gonna be updated with the right information. Okay. I wanted to add on page 5, in paragraph 4, again, discussion of protocols, there's a paragraph 1, 2, 3, the fourth one down, where it says Ms. Ganther understood the concern regarding the amount Fremont paid, but she also noted the parent sensitivity. I just wanted to add that I had said that I agreed that it was an important factor to keep in mind as we approach our tuition contract discussions. Because I think it's an important factor. I'd like the record to show that I said that. Page 5, under recess, instead of there was review, I would like it to say Mr. Sabina provided each board member with a folder of items that were prioritized. And that's all I had for those.
I did have something, I can get my computer to work, I can find it.
I had one thing, but I'd have got it.
Do you want us to go on to the next, Andy, and then
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
wait to
Yeah, go ahead.
accept those until after you come up with
Yeah,
yours? You
yeah.
still can't open that?
It's just, my computer's exactly fine.
Here.
Yeah, I have my comments here, and now I can't get at them, so. True.
So this isn't gonna help you then if I give you this?
No, you can, no, it won't help me as far as my, there's something I said about, it was, I don't know what page it was on.
What was it about?
It was about, when I talked about how we could use, if we needed, one way to get money to buy materials that we needed for the school was if a repair or maintenance was done using, money out of the operating budget, that we could use the trust fund to reimburse the school, and that would give us extra money we could transfer over into the line item needed to purchase the needed materials.
And what was wrong with it? Because it says the possible use of trust funds and fund balance to purchase needed material was addressed,
Right,
as well as coming up with a timeline of when materials need to be updated or bought.
yeah, yeah.
As part of the auditing procedure,
No,
okay,
yeah, that's not what but anyway, it was unclear in the minutes, but I don't know where it was. I can't tell you where it was, so. My computer doesn't wanna work, so.
okay,
We'll just have to pass on that.
okay. And then the non-public minutes of January 29th. Did anybody have any changes to those?
Motion to approve the non-public minutes of January 29th as.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
aye. February 2nd, school board meeting minutes. The only thing I had was under general discussion. The third line down, it says during the meeting, comma, they need to stand at the citizens' microphone. And say that they need to, the citizens' microphone. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Motion to approve February 2nd as amended.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And can we approve the January 29th minutes then?
Motion to approve January 29th as amended.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, board superintendent communications and reports.
Yes, I, along with the board and Mr. Safina, received a request from Mr. Rowell for information about social studies and science and our curriculum in general. And we each answered his questions to the best of our ability. And I think, in fact, I met Mr. Rowell over at the pizzeria just before this meeting. And he said that he was pleased with the 3 sets of responses that he received, and that his main concern is that we not forget all the work that was done for the strategic plan, and that it's wonderful that we've updated our board goals, but that we still adhere to the principles behind the strategic plan, of which curriculum was one. So,
Michelle, do you think we could, when we're gonna do that quarterly, the review of our goals and things, correct?
Yes.
So could we bring the strategic plan into that plan of doing the goals and the strategic plan to make sure the dates and because Jeff pointed out that the dates on some of the items have gone by, but yet, and some of the things he also pointed out aren't even relevant anymore, like follow the child. So maybe at the next, when we do the quarterly for the goals, we might be able to update and clarify some of that. And what do you, should we
I
mix
can-
it together or should we keep it separate?
well, you've spent a lot of resources and time and energy into the strategic plan. It still is an important document. I think there would be a way that I could combine the two. Even though the work was not completed on time, it doesn't devalue the work needing to be done. So, but yeah, we'll get to that April or so. The second thing is that we've had a bit of an uncomfortable situation in that we think there has been unauthorized access to the SAU office. And so we have spoken with the landlord, and we are going to have the tumbler pins changed, is that right? And on the deadbolts, and we will be issuing keys to very few people, because obviously all of our financial information is there. But we've had a couple of occurrences where both Laurie and I have been the last ones to leave the building. We both double check the locks and then come in the next day and the door is open. So that's a concern. So we will, we'll do that in the most cost-effective manner, but it has to be done.
How soon is it gonna get done?
We just talked to the landlord yesterday.
Yeah, I actually
So-
just talked with him this morning,
Okay.
so he's gonna get the ball going.
Good.
Yes. I mean, sooner the better, and then you'll have a sign out sheet for
And the keys will say do not duplicate.
Well, the form that they're gonna sign your life away when they get the key is gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then finally, in terms of my own report, it has been wonderful to see the amount of interest from the public in our school district and our budget. And we're very grateful that people are taking the time to learn about us and ask questions. But I think people have to be mindful of the fact that the requests for reports and data and just confirmation of information has really slowed Laurie and I down, and there are only so many hours in the day, so we're not getting to what we had hoped to.
Do we have statutory limits as to how fast we have to respond to requests for information?
We have met all the deadlines for right to know.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what, cause that, but that,
You have 5 business days.
right.
And even if you're not able to respond within those 5 days, as long as you're reaching out to that individual and just explaining, giving an update, and with a reasonable expectation, but 5 days is really.
Now, some of the requests, you're talking about public requests, right? Not school board requests at this point, because I know.
During budget season, it was a heavy load from both groups. Again, we're not complaining. This is not that we're upset that the information is being asked for. It's just there are only so many hours in the day.
And in something like the people that had questions about the deliberative session, they wouldn't, if they had waited 5 days, they wouldn't have gotten their information in time.
That's
Right.
correct, absolutely.
So it had to be,
Absolutely.
answered quickly no
Yes.
matter what, because otherwise it would have been useless for them
Exactly.
had they gotten it in
Would
5.
never have served its purpose.
Right, so I actually am grateful that you were able to rush to it, if you will, so that people could have the right information for deliberative session time.
I did attend a workshop with LGC, who is our insurance carrier, on the Affordable Care Act. And basically, there are a few things that everyone can agree on, and then the rest is all clear as mud. Large employers are defined as anyone with 50 full-time equivalent positions or more, and that full-time employees are defined as 30 hours a week or more. And there has been raised a question during our budget hearings that, oh, well, you just have to offer the insurance as an employer, you don't have to pay for it. Well, the kicker is that if you offer an insurance that an employee can't afford, which is most of the health insurance policies out there, then you're not offering affordable insurance, and so therefore you have to pay for it, or the penalties will kick in. So you're paying for it one way or the other. The question is still out there as to when the penalties are going to kick in, and even the lawyer for LGC could not give us a date when that question will be answered. The whole penalty consideration has been put out to public comment. That could take up to 120 days. After that, then the department, the IRS and the Department of Labor and whoever else is involved in this gets to review it. So most likely we're looking at late fall before even a decision is made, which is well past our time to decide for the budget. So it's prudent that we put forward the warrant article that we did, with the protections that we did. Finally, the New Hampshire Department of Education submitted their waiver to No Child Left Behind to the federal government. And the federal government had a couple of concerns. One is that for the past 3 years now, the department has been trying to negotiate a teacher evaluation model that would satisfy all the stakeholders, teachers, unions, school boards, state department officials, legislative officials. And it's, in a lot of ways, it's been trying to walk on a pond filled with alligators, because everybody had a vested interest in the outcome. And in every other state which won a race to the top grant, the federal government has come in and said, you will provide for a teacher evaluation system that is based on performance. And New Hampshire, being New Hampshire, has developed a model that is suggested, not mandated. And so the federal government is balking. So it's unclear still whether we will be granted our waiver.
So, I'm sorry, Michelle, so does that mean we would not do Common Core, we would still do?
No, you would
It
still
would
do
still be
Common Core.
Okay,
um,
but we would
But-
just take the kneecap testing instead of the other testing? Is that what the difference is, or?
No, the waiver, the federal government has basically said that the Smarter Balance Consortium will cover the Common Core, but it's the percentage of kids that are proficient. Remember how we were all supposed to be proficient by 2014? That would still remain in effect if we don't get this waiver. And obviously, just from the presentation that you saw tonight, we're not there yet. We've made excellent strides, but 2014 is next year.
And is this something the state as a whole has to adopt, the evaluations based on performance, or is it something that the individual school districts can adopt?
What the state has proposed is that the individual school districts can adopt these performance-based evaluation systems. The federal government is saying, no, you, New Hampshire, as a state, need to require it if you want this waiver. And that's going to be a stumbling block, because you will not get agreement from New Hampshire school districts, nor the unions, nor, it just isn't going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see. The other point is how we determine subgroups. Now, in New Hampshire, a student is counted actually multiple times. They could be a special ed student from a lower socioeconomic status who happens to be a minority. That student will be counted 3 times. And it is counted 3 times in our present system. The federal government has a problem with that and wants students to be only counted once. So, I'm not a mathematician, nor am I a psychometrician, but evidently in the assessment field, there are problems with doing that. And so, the New Hampshire Department of Ed has a task force just trying to tackle how you would separate out the group which would be the primary indicator for a particular student. So is the fact that they have a disability more important than the fact that they are poor or a minority, or, do you see, it gets incredibly complicated, and
Does it skew our numbers though, to count them 3 times? You know, in
There
the
are
case
built-
where it would be that way, I mean, obviously not every student.
It does skew your numbers, but supposedly they've built into the formula so that it doesn't affect you that greatly, but still the federal government is saying, no, you count the kid once, and, you'll be much more likely to get the waiver. So New Hampshire is trying to figure out how to do that, which is not an easy task.
There's a lot of ethics questions and ethics.
It does, it raises a lot
Split
of
'em into
ethical
thirds.
questions. What's that?
Split them into thirds.
Yeah.
Don't count
You
them
can
three
be in
times,
charge
count
of
them
that.
once,
Those
three
credits
times.
Okay, and then finally, we've been having our, read, Love to Read month. I read 3 classes this week, it was wonderful. And we're going to have our annual science vocabulary parade on the 21st. We'd love to have you attend. I don't know if you noticed on the bulletin board as you walk down from the main corridor, you'll see what vocabulary words each grade is trying to present. And we're gonna have a good time doing that in just a week or so.
Michelle, will there be somebody in the gym signing people in?
Yeah,
How-
if you look on here.
No, what we did for our kindergarten concert was that everybody came in from there, and Mr. Tot and I and Mrs. who were there? I think Mrs. Blade, you were there, and Mrs. Blades, I think, came down, and we didn't let anybody out into the building.
Oh,
They
okay,
just
so
into
they
the gym.
just in the gym.
Just in the gym. It worked out very well, so I think that's what we do
Sharon,
again.
look right here in the middle of the flyer, it tells you what to do, where to park, and how to go in.
I saw that, that's why I wondered if people were coming in through the back door, if there was gonna be somebody checking
Oh,
them in
oh.
and getting them a pass.
They're coming in through the gym doors, and they're not leaving the gym.
I have one more thing, Michelle, about this, Angela O'Connell, is,
Yeah,
cause I heard
that's
you
me.
say your last name different.
Oh, did I say?
I don't know, I thought you said a different last name when you introduced yourself earlier, and I
I don't
thought I was
think
calling you
so.
something different. Okay.
You say Smith again.
I'm
I
just-
might have, a long time ago, I used to hyphenate, but that became way
No,
too
I
complicated.
must have just misheard you, but,
Sorry.
Angela sent in a memo about the tax rate, the question we had about the tax rate, and I just want to acknowledge tonight that we did receive it, and we'll go over it and get back to you on it.
Because I know there was a difference, so I just wanted to show how we calculated it in case we were incorrect in it, so we
Yeah, I
can
haven't looked
understand
at the details yet, but, we'll let Lori and
I will,
Sharon.
I will be looking
Okay.
at it.
Okay,
Thank you.
take a look over it for you.
Probably the next day or so.
And that's all right with that. And then we have subcommittee reports. Policy committee. I think we'll be back on schedule next month.
That's correct.
Budget committee,
We're done.
you're done. Negotiation committee.
We're done.
Doesn't that sound good, actually, after all the work you've all been doing? Board of Selectmen's meeting,
We haven't met, but after the meeting, so.
PTA.
I attended the meeting. Sweet John was there too. It was during the day meeting. I happened to be off. I went and they're busy as ever. They had their father-daughter. Actually, I'm sorry. The
Snowflake.
snowflake.
Snowball.
Snowball. And up to 4th grade, and it was very successful. And what else are you doing?
Lots of mini grants for the teachers. We provided John Herman with some seeds, so he's going to be able to start doing growing stations, not only in the not only growing plants in the greenhouse, but also growing stations in all the classrooms that want to. What else? We're working on another event for field days coming up. Oh, we're also working on artist in residence. We might have an African drum group come in. We still need to talk to you about
By the way.
Yeah, it is pretty.
They're coming in tomorrow come on.
So,
We've got a ways to go.
Are you
PTA is
doing the Yankee Candle fundraiser this year, or did you already?
I think we're doing a different one.
A different one.
Yeah, I think we voted on a different one, so.
And thank you for the new microwave.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, yes, that's right, we just bought the
Awesome.
teachers.
You need candles.
Oh, and another.
We might have some laying around.
Well, we do
Easter-
sell candles in the new one too, but they're eco-friendly ones, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
an
I'll check it
eco-friendly, One other thing
I
that
was
we're
holding
doing
out.
that's pretty exciting is we actually came in, before the meeting, the student council presented, they're trying to raise money in order to get a filtered water system rather than the, machine operated bottled system that we have. The machine operated system that we have generates a lot of heat, it uses a lot of energy, and it also uses plastic bottles. It's just not eco-efficient or anything like that, but this filtered water system would be much more so. They need to raise $1,000 in order to do that, and they've they actually, at our prior meeting, asked for a mini grant for $250, but we have been raising quite a bit of money, so we decided to ask them if they'd like maybe an additional $250 and give them maybe $500 toward their machine, and then they could raise the $500 that's the balance. So they did a PowerPoint presentation for the board, which was fantastic. They were very knowledgeable about it, told us their ideas for fundraising, and we decided at our last board meeting that we were going to fund them $500 and have them fundraise the rest on their own to purchase this machine.
That's great.
Yay, PTA.
Student council too.
Yes. Thank you. Professional Development Committee? I think it's the plan at the state, right?
They came back.
He came back and we made some adjustments and
They
sent
sent
it
it
back.
again.
And the Curriculum Committee?
I mean, next week, next Thursday. And we should get the results back from the survey, and we'll be moving from then. The next step would be to design something, a survey for the students at Sanborn. That's something we want to do also, so we'll be moving forward with that.
Did it pick up a little, Michelle, when you sent out that second
We
notification?
got about, I think it's either 105 or 107.
Wow.
Oh, that's much more than.
surveys. So
what you
they did pick up.
Information items, business administrators report.
So, again, thank you for your patience in allowing me to submit to you 2 reports. So let's look at part 1, being the February 7th. Let's kind of skip to the second paragraph, request for town impact fees. We've budgeted for $14,000, and the current balance with the town is $24,813. So I just, for public record, I'm looking for the board to approve to go out and request that from the town, to have it deposited to
All of it or just the 14?
I'm recommending the 14,000.
And what would do the other 10,000?
We'll leave it there and revisit it at another time.
What would happen if we took all of it right now? How would that affect us?
Well, if I jump to part 2 on the financials, the general fund, I'm already projecting that you're ahead by $40,000.
Right.
So that 10,000 is really gonna go to your fund balance. It would be a contribution to your fund balance and
Alright.
go to your tax rate. So, it's really the board's pleasure how you wanna
Yeah.
approach
I
that.
say we leave it in case
Yeah.
next year we don't have a fund
Yeah.
balance, then we can request it.
Yeah.
Have a
Right,
little
cause
bit.
I think I also put in, I also budgeted, I think, like 12,000 or something like that. So we wanna make certain that
Right.
we are at least be able to pull that 12,000 to meet next year's budget.
Is there a statutory limit as to how long we have to access that money, or is it just gonna sit in an account forever?
6 years, and it kinda like looks
Right.
at it in terms of when the money was contributed. So within 6 years, you have to spend that first contribution,
Alright.
or sort of put it into effect, so.
So I'll entertain a motion to have, to approve the $14,000.
Motion for $14,000.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Next item is Primex, who handles our pooled risk coverage for both property and liability and our workers' compensation. They provided us with the renewals. It's, what they do is a 3-year renewal program. I don't know how much has been talked about in the past about this, but it's they offer up sort of like a 3-year renewal where you actually commit to them. And in exchange for, they give you what your, suppose your maximum increase, your GMR or your cap would be. The premium's not gonna increase any more than 7%. So I'm very much in favor with still sticking with Primex. They offer some excellent training programs at no charge to the district employees. There's definitely a lot of benefits, and they're an excellent resource for just assisting with safety. Safety is definitely gonna be on the forefront, already is, going forward.
So do they have any options outside of Primex in New Hampshire? I don't think there are.
There are, and it is really about going into private. You go into the private marketplace, and it is truly an insurance that you're purchasing.
Right.
You are gonna pay higher premiums, but you're not gonna get sort of like that, the benefit of their understanding the public entity, public education, or, you know, public townships. They're not gonna provide you training, and things like that, those other support services.
Right, I can't remember, one year we were in a pool for something, and I don't know if it was Primex, and we pulled out of the pool because it would be cheaper for us. I don't know if it was Primex though.
Well,
We're
but it is, but yes, this is pooled risk management, that everyone who's a member actually shares in that risk exposure. But they also come in and take a look at what your history is. And just because your neighbor, you know, has a 50% claim, doesn't mean it gets passed on to you, but
Yeah,
it's,
it might not be
yeah.
this then. I read it over, there's an exit clause for appropriations too, which
right,
is why
yes,
they're
that's right,
public, yeah.
that's right. So I am requesting that you give me the authority to enter into this for another 3 years.
I'll motion to approve Primex for 3 years. Is our insurance for that?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next item is a response to the auditor's governance letter. And essentially, the auditors came, they've been doing their examinations, they started last May. And came up with 5 points. The governance letter means that, okay, these are control deficiencies, you need to address them. It doesn't go in your actual audit report, but I have a duty to tell you as a board that, look, these are some things that we need to work on. My responsibility is to also come up with a course of action to basically put something in play, which I've included in my letter, which is really self-explanatory. And I'll let you ask questions to
Okay.
that if you have questions.
I just had one. It says, these deficiencies are not considered significant or of material weakness. What would be an example of a significant or material weakness? Like, would it be, what would an auditor find that would be considered?
How would they classify? Oh, jeez, checks that get lost, I guess, not keeping a good register of the checks being, it's hard to, yeah, I know you're trying to come up with kind of like a comparison.
Yeah, just curious.
There's no protocol on how deposits get handled, you know, it's just willy-nilly, I mean, that could, if these things are not addressed, it could elevate up to the next step, and that's what we don't wanna have happen,
Okay.
so.
Well, I was really pleased to see all the things you put in days, cause these are all concerns that I've raised over the years, so.
Yeah, I mean, we're taking baby steps, it's to try and make things, stronger. We'll get there. Last item on this particular report is the claim for abandoned property. I had received actually some information, from the public. Taxpayers said, geez, you have some abandoned property out there at the state's website, so I contacted Ms. Maxfield at the Treasury Department, took a look at the documents and the forms, and some of this stuff goes back multiple years. So we filed it, expecting probably take about 90 days or so for it to come in, so.
I have a question for you,
Yeah.
what's the process for the payroll? This is one of the things that still bothers me, is that we sign off on payroll long after it's been given out to the employees. So what's the kind of checks and balances that's in place for that?
Well, I am pretty much trying to get my arms around that piece as well, I agree. Statutorily, payroll, you have a date that you file with Department of Labor, you gotta do the payroll. A couple of ideas that come to mind is that, we do testing on each payroll record, so to speak. Right now, I've also been doing some double checking, making certain that we do have in fact all the contracts in place. I will come up with something, I think, in writing about how we'll improve that piece.
Is there any auditing done, like do you do random audits against like the timesheets versus the paychecks and things like that?
That will be something once I get my, yes. That is one way that you can accomplish, how well, how accurate are things being posted.
Is it fair to say that when Michelle recommends an employee and we vote on it saying yes for this amount of money, then in effect the board has authorized that payroll for that period of time, if you will?
Yes.
And that
Yes.
then we leave it to you to input it and only input the things that we've approved.
Right.
So in effect, the only thing that we don't necessarily is substitutes, because
Right.
they change every
Right.
pay period. But we do approve a certain amount of money for substitutes. So, as a board, that's how I see us approving the payroll way before it hits the paycheck. I don't know if that's the way other,
It is after the
Districts-
fact.
And one of the things that concerns me about it is, having our signatures on this when the mistakes like that the auditors have found have been in here, and we don't check against anything when we sign this, so we're just taking somebody's word for it that it's correct,
I guess.
But yet our name is on it as approved, so
Yes.
that kind of bothers me.
I think, let me get my little self settled back in here.
I just
And
wanted to know
it
if
is-
you had
Yeah,
something in the
I
forefront.
think maybe some time ago I had talked about how I had done like some payroll testing on a very, very large payroll in a district, and I would pull like 7 payrolls and basically took it from the system and literally walked it all the way back to its source documents. And, and by the time you're done 26, payrolls, and you're doing 7 at a time, 152. It's at least, definitely a good sampling of your payroll, so. But yes, that is on my list of things to look at.
Okay.
Because payroll really represents a significant piece of your budget.
of course, yeah.
It's, as a law business, so. Any other questions on part 1 of my report?
No, but actually, I'd like to know if we can table the financials that came in yesterday, because I haven't had a real good chance to look, and before I start asking my questions, I might be able to answer them myself if I just have time to look
Yep.
at them.
Yep, absolutely, that, it's my apologies that, I worked Friday trying to do this, but I couldn't get,
That's okay, I just
Connected onto
need
logging
more
in from
time,
home.
that's all.
Um,
So we can table them even to the next meeting.
So is there a motion?
Yes, that's my motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll just talk about those at the next meeting. Was that it then, Lauren?
That
Yes.
is it, yes.
Okay, there was no other actions, right, in any of that other
No,
reporting?
no.
Enrollment report is right here. Looks like we're up a few students. Up 3. And stay the same in the high school.
Two more starting next week.
What's
And
that?
2 more starting next week.
Oh, really?
In high
At the
school.
high school?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. You see where my train of thought is.
And we stayed the same at the high school.
Mhm.
Which is interesting with all the ups and downs.
Okay. Any questions on the enrollment? Everybody good? Facility director's report? Anybody have any questions on that?
No.
So when he says he runs out of paint, is there something that's not paint, something that couldn't paint because of paint?
I'm sorry, please?
Mr. Brown says he until another week until all the paint's used up. Does that mean he has more to paint, he just doesn't have paint?
Well, take a walk around the building on your way out. If you see the new blue, basically the blue's on that. He's been carrying the paint over that he bought throughout the building, so it's kind of, the new color's unified. Is that what it means? Is that what it means?
He's asking, is he done painting or is he
Is
gonna
he-
run
Oh,
out
yeah.
before he finishes?
I think he has a few more places to go.
Yeah.
So he needs more paint.
Oh, right.
Yep.
But
I
not
think
too-
I think it's the
Just being
reverse.
funny.
I think he's gonna paint till it's used up. That's how I interpret it.
I figured that he would.
Okay, let's start over. Mr. Brown
So if he
said
runs
he's
out of
going
walls
to
here,
run
he
out
can
of
come to my
paint.
house.
Does that mean, Mr. Brown said the paint's gonna be used up. Does that mean he's going to run out of paint before he finishes painting what he needs to?
No, I think it's the opposite. I think he wanted to use the paint up,
Right.
so he's,
So we
Could have
can't
been
really
another week
say-
of painting to
Yeah,
make that
he's gonna
It
happen.
looks very good.
That's what
whatever it is.
that's what I thought it meant, actually. You just wanna keep going till it was all gone?
Well, I'll make sure that he doesn't leave one.
You know the answer to the
We
question.
might have to buy a little more. I'll make sure that, because I don't think he's worked on this hallway yet. Here,
If he
the
needs any
third
more
floor.
paint.
We'll work it out.
Yeah,
Get
we'll
him
work.
paint.
Yeah.
Because I love the blue, I mean, it's basically our
So
school
PTA
colors,
day
which is
of
nice rather than, I think we have brown and green, and
Yeah.
I haven't told him about the windows in the front yet for the summer. No, I did. No kind of thing.
You just did.
I just did. But no, I had talked to him before about it.
and you have Jason's report.
So now that we're all ready for the smarter balance testing, we might not be able to do it, cause we might not get the waiver.
I think that the state will still continue with that all that will change is that we're gonna be held accountable if all the kids aren't 100% proficient.
Right.
What is, and does that mean they take money away from us, or does that mean they,
It could.
yeah,
You could affect our Title I, could affect our Title I, yes, that's what I thought, it's federal money.
It's federal money.
During the storm, were you guys able to successfully log in from home to get anything done you need to do?
I don't have that capability, so I just log in to my email from home, but I had plenty of work with me that but you.
Yeah, I had a problem logging in, but that was only because the server, for some reason the server went down. But I was able to email in to Jason's phone and he went right in and fixed
Nice.
it and then
Good.
once we connected, we were good, so,
Good to hear.
yeah. It's a nice feature.
any other questions on the test plan? I'm in the tech report. I've been on the committee so long, that's all I say now is tech plan. Okay, and then public input. Does anybody have anything? Action items, necessary line item transfers. Are there any?
There
No.
aren't. We left that on there just in case, cause you never know.
Okay.
But this week, I will have 3 small ones for you to take a look at under 1,000.
And the manifest report, do you have it, Sharon?
Yeah, I have the
Okay.
manifests here, and you guys can look at them if you want, there really wasn't anything noteworthy to speak of. So I will approve the manifest as presented, 13-24 for $152,320.79. And 13-25 is for $47,343.65.
Second,
Second?
all those in favor?
Alright.
Aye. Okay, and then non-public?
You can grab a pen. Yes, you had items that you wanted to talk about.
Right. So, we'll need a motion to go into non-public for RSA 91-A:3, number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Praise. Aye.
Jerry, aye.
Sabrina, aye.
Get no.
Cole,
No, no, DC.
Our next meeting is March 12th,
To count
voting
ballots.
day.
To count.
We have to be there to count as well, yeah.
Oh.
So,
But, so it should be a short meeting?
I'm sorry?
Just be a short meeting and then we go over there?
Yeah, I guess,
So
Michelle,
this
we have
is
to,
new, what
in
is
this
this?
town,
It's
the
fun.
school board counts the selectmen's ballots, and the selectmen count the school board ballots for any elected officials.
Oh, okay.
So,
When
Well,
is
that's
it?
only the write-in,
on March
right?
12th, after the polls close,
Oh, I
we
thought
have
we
to be,
counted our ballots.
They close at
we have to
8,
be in the
yeah.
gym to,
No, we do ours.
No, we do,
We
they
just,
usually have opposites do them.
yeah, opposite.
we just count the write-ins, right?
You
Oh,
want-
just count it, 'cause all the rest of
You
them have
can't
that
count
machine.
After 8 o'clock.
After the close,
I know you
yeah, the
can't.
polls close.
I had to
So,
sit out
I don't know if we want to have
Wow.
to,
last year?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Do
last
you
year.
want to put the meeting to another date?
They were in the
That's
same
fine.
meeting. No, I ran 2
Would you
years
like to
ago.
change the night of the meeting?
Well, if it's after that date, you'll have a new person.
It can't be after that date, because we have something for you.
It's fine with me, whatever.
So just, I need someone to explain to me what this is before we leave
Oh,
for the 12th.
We'll show you how to count. It's
it's
fun.
fun.
Just plan on being there late, because if there's a lot of write-ins.
I mean,
And the people in our town, they have quite a sense of humor when they write in
Mickey
Mickey
Mouse.
Mouse and
Yeah.
SpongeBob
You'll-
and,
It's a whole new perspective.
yeah,
I like it.
really, you lose a lot of respect, I'll tell you.
Do we want to change the 12th meeting to a different night?
we could do it the previous week,
The 5th?
the 5th.
I can do that. Actually, that's perfect.
That's
Do
the
we
week
not
after
have a meeting,
vacation,
do we
right?
not have
Yeah.
another meeting
I can
in
do that.
February?
No,
Vacation,
vacation.
baby.
Okay, so March 5th, are you available? $6:30 at the.
Do you know what, that's meet the candidates?
Oh, that's me,
Oh,
the
it is.
candidates.
Does that mean the candidates night, March 5th?
March 5th, I
Yeah.
swear.
Should we do it in
I
Wednesday
heard
night?
about that.
I
Yeah.
hadn't heard about it either.
Yes, Mike
He announced it at the
At the
deliberative
deliberative
session, he came
session.
in late, but yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
hear it.
Let's
At
make
the
the
town's
candidates.
deliberative session,
Oh.
he announced it.
March 5th?
Yeah.
Where?
Here.
oh,
At the school?
Should
At
we do it the
time?
6th?
6 o'clock.
can we do it the 6th then?
I can.
I
March
can't.
6th? Okay.
If I could, if we had to, actually, I could do it.
Okay, we have to. Wednesday the 6th.
But, all right, I'll have to skip the planning board meeting. I'm now an official member of the planning board too. I missed my first meeting as an official member of the planning board.
6:30? Is that?
Yeah,
And we'll do
Wednesday,
it at the
the
SAU
6th,
office.
Yeah.
6:30 at the SAU.
What time your planning meeting?
7.
Folks, we need to think about adjourning because the custodians go home at 10.
Okay.
All right.
I'll,
We're out of public side, we're out of private side, or non-public.
yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
So, real quick, future, just one quick question about future and follow-up.
Mhm.
We talked about it at the technology committee a while back. We were bringing to the school board about doing some sort of network security testing of the school networking application, so we should put that on an agenda at some point when we have a light night,
Okay.
that's all.
Can you email that to me?
Yep.
Thank you. Just so I don't forget.
Yep.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.